God's a little bit discombobulated.
We got you. Don't
We're
worry.
gonna be fine. Morgan's like, "What's the matter with you?" I said, I think I need a break, but I'm okay. Okay, we're live on all platforms.
Mhm.
Welcome everybody to the live and replay. We got the beautiful Isabella Greene in the house from Sedona. The last time we talked, we had a sacred sexual conversation, among other things. We have a very good synergy, and we always have a good time. So, this is going to be an exciting hour. I'm looking forward to it. Today's, I think, a powerful Divine Feminine Day. Yvonne Bartholomew is coming on in 3 hours from now. But I'm going to play the intro real quick, 1 minute, 19 seconds, and allow people time to come in. We'll be right back. Isabella Greene. What's happening, everybody? I was just looking at the soulogynetwork.com website, and just as a reminder, you can watch these shows on soulogynetwork.com. We're going to continue to add channels. We got a lot of work to do. Isabella Greene's picture on there. There's a little section where you click on the person, and it takes you to their page or to their website. This is something we're going to continue to work with. There's a lot of features that are very interactive that we're going to continue to expand and to support and expand awareness of people like Isabella Greene throughout the world. Yay. So that we can share their magic. So right now she's front and center. Welcome back to SOULSPEAKS 5D. This is a very dear connection to me and to Soulgy, like so many are, but you're extra special. We've actually met 3 or 4 times, and that's my third eye thing. Every time I go through a lot of isn't it crazy? Every time I go through a massive dream state, I wake up dehydrated and I have a big red dot on my forehead. So people, if you haven't figured it out by now, this transformation is real. We are moving to a light body, crystalline body, and all that stuff. Isabella, it's good to see you. It really is. And I'm happy to see you again. I'm glad you got put on the schedule. Mm-hmm. And I'm anxious to see what's happening with you because you're so real. You're connected, but you're real. And so we got on before the show. You looked at me and go, "What the heck's wrong with you?"
Oh, no. Thank you for having me, Todd. And yeah, we can really now discuss what's happening and take it down here to the ground, because what you just mentioned, I believe that's accurate, that I'm very much on the ground. I'm very much here, but at the same time, I'm very much connected as well. And so I'm very much aware of what's happening and how, but also how we are processing stuff in the physical and the things that you're describing that you're going through after listening to that talk with Morgan recently. Your sacred sexuality talk and the things that you're describing and experiencing, all of that makes perfect sense. And I get a lot of messages from beings outside of this reality, the ones who are either assisting us, well, they all assisting us, the ones that I work with, or we are carrying their DNA that's getting activated now. They're bringing a lot of intel that is very much in parallel with what's happening with us. And I would like to share some of that, and also some of the observations that I've had recently since you and I talked. Through my work, through the people that come to me. Every person comes to me, brings another piece of a puzzle, a little bit more information comes in. So I'm starting to think about the work of Dolores Cannon, how she wrote these books based on what came through the client work. I'm sitting here going, I'm getting a lot of intel through that work myself. And so as far as your body being completely discombobulated, and then you get up and you continue with the show as well. First of all, you interact with a lot of really powerful energies, and it just seems that we're in different realities, but we're all, meaning you are in one physical location and I'm in a different one, but we're very much connected. We're all interconnected. And so you're constantly receiving the codes and the downloads, shows. What does that sound? You hear that?
No.
Okay, so
what does it sound like?
It sounds like it's gone now. Okay. It sounds like these ETs were drilling through my wall right there.
It happens all the time on here. It's different stuff happens, man. Do you know Stephen Popiotek? He was in Sedona. He's from New York, Brooklyn, and he came on yesterday for the third show we've done, and he disappeared. Like I'm looking at what's behind you, and all of a sudden you disappear. Yet he's still talking to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
So the body has to process, and you just recently had a talk with Sandra Walter where she very elaborately, as always, described how the body is going through its processes, and there are different levels of integration that are happening, and because you're also together with Morgan and you're constantly reactivating each other and passing that ball between each other and pulling. It's not just your stream that you're working with, but you also, just because you're under the same roof with her and because you're having the shared experiences with her, you constantly processing and reactivating new aspects. And I just mentioned Dolores Cannon. There are a couple of things that I wanted to bring up about that here, because I was thinking, because the people started coming in for work that were not the type of people that would take my kind of sessions before. And these are the people in their late 60s and 70s. And outside of Larry Rosenberg, I don't know anyone. I worked with a couple of elderly clients who were just reaching out because they had health conditions, but they were not interested in any information. And here, just over last month or so, that's all I'm getting. I'm just getting so much, so many requests, and these souls are saying the same exact thing. They're saying, "Oh, I live this life the way the program told me I was supposed to live it. And now I'm very unhappy because I realized that this is not the life that I ever wanted. Wow. And this is not the life that is in alignment with who I feel I am, but I don't even know who I am. I just have this feeling that something is way off." And so I listened to Dolores Cannon's little piece about 3 waves of volunteers. And we came into this planet in waves. I'm clearly the second wave. I identify with that very strongly. But I'm thinking that the ones who still were in amnesia in the first wave, they are now being triggered back into activations, and it's not gentle. It's very much they are in the space of discomfort, like my whole life was wasted, and now what do I do? Because can I even make a change for myself at this age? And what do I do? And they go through massive recalibration. And so the body, so what Dolores Cannon was saying was that when we originally started coming into Earth as volunteers, if you buy that theory, I like that theory. I agree with what you had to say. In many cases, when we came in with the like early in time, when density on Earth was higher, the body vehicle, mine, yours, we're in the same age group, more or less, right? So the body vehicle could not handle the level of energy, frequency, consciousness that was coming in to operate on Earth. It had to wait until you build your body, or you build your consciousness to the level that it can take it. And so now the rest of us are coming back online, not only through DNA upgrades, through physical upgrades, through restructuring of our state of being. The light body is activated, rainbow bodies is activated, our consciousness, different level of consciousness is activated. And that comes with challenges for the physical form.
Yeah.
So I just took a long way to get back to you experiencing various symptoms and sensations in your physical form. And the visions and the realizations and the rebirthing process that you described in your talk with Morgan recently, that's all in perfect alignment. It's like the rest of your soul is coming back online. We want to call it soul. We want to call it your or our natural human state of being, where we have all of the abilities turned back on. Right. And so every time you have that recalibration experience, well, your rebirthing experience was super powerful from what I understand, like the experience of complete 0 point, complete death of the old programming, the subconscious just had to poop it all out so that you can put or reprogram the new stuff back in. The same thing happens with when you specifically, not just, majority of population that's just having the flu at this time, but because a lot of people don't get the flu, right? Because they've already went through that and like went over the hump, and so they don't get sick anymore in this density. But if you're still getting it, that's the body just spitting out all of the cellular programming that was there before, and that's now getting recalibrated and changed. And the fact that your third eye physically shows that reactivation is happening and that's coming back online.
Does it look bad, or does it look like I'm a teenager with it?
I can't
I'm breaking out. I'm kidding.
But I can see that you keep touching it.
I need to stop, right? It's usually about the size of a nickel or even a quarter. Today it's not as big, but
I get the pressure in that spot when from different things. When I'm exposed to people who have super high frequency, when I'm exposed to material of super high frequency, when I channel, when I literally allow the information that is just so high frequency with the energy of the beings that I'm channeling, and they're moving through my body vehicle, my body is like, so usually I get the heart activation. Like it feels like you have that fire burning right here, like your chest is about to explode, and the third eye pressure and that swirling, tingling sensation. So that's very common. And so you are activating different aspects of yourself that are connecting you to all of the layers of who you are as a human being, who you were supposed to be as the activated full-on human being. And that's been talked a lot about in the sessions that I've been doing recently, and that has been called the law of oneness. And I would like to share about that in a moment as well. But I've been talking, so if you have anything to
no,
say,
it's all good. I just got out of bed. I just got out of bed. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding about that. No, it's fine. You talk. This is fine. We just flow with it. But yeah, a couple of comments. One is what I noticed, particularly about this past weekend, is the sensations in the body are becoming more unique. They're different sensations than I've ever had. And then some of that I know is tied to, like, last night when we connected last night, I got this incredible, and I know I've had it before. I told Morgan, I've never felt this before. Like in my root and sacral, there was this internal, it was almost unbearable. And I said, I've never felt this before. She said, well, yeah, you have. And I guess I have, but not to this degree. Like I had to keep bringing it up to my heart.
Yeah.
Keep bringing it up to my heart. At the same time, my physical body, because I guess that would be my energy body or something. I don't know how it works, but my physical body, all I wanted to do was, I was nauseous and I thought I was going to vomit. Yet I'm having this exquisite experience, but everything is correlating, everything's paralleling. That's what you're saying. So, be it all night long. I mean, I drank water from, before I went to bed. I made sure I did. I got up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I drank a bottle of water. I went back to sleep, got up at 9, had to drink another bottle of water. So it's dehydration. It's the pressure in the head, the third eye. I can relate to what you're talking about with that. I'm noticing a lot more tones now, and they're not like, there's not like the tones that I've had over the years. They feel like they're much closer. I can't really explain it. They're much more prominent. They have a much more fuller sound. That's happening. And then I'm noticing stuff in my body. There's still more stuff being purged out, the metal smell, perspiring in an inordinate amount and frequently. That's not normal. I mean, it's just not typical. So there's all these signs, and to me, they're all leading to this solstice. I mean, I'm just basing this on my own impression. I do see people out there writing about it, and people have been talking about it, but it sure seems like we're getting squeezed dried, as we enter the final stretch. And then, of course, the other side of it is, because we've focused a lot on shadows and zero pointing and physical transformation and uncomfortableness and different symptoms, but there's another thing that's happening, which is, somebody just put onenessness, which is this fellowship, this love expansion, this synchronicity with like-minded frequencies or similar frequencies. These they're not coincidences. These sequential unfoldment of your day, of your energy, and of your experience that are just like turning a page in a book. It's like, oh, it goes from here to there. It's a different person. It's a different place, but they all fit together. And there's one message that's being transmitted to you. And I guess what I'm saying ultimately is I can see the light at the end of the tunnel is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't know what's going to happen. Do you have any feeling or any opinion even on what's coming? Because it sure feels big.
Well, before we go into what's coming, oh my God, I'm sitting here going, I want to take notes of what he's saying because I want to comment of just about everything you just said.
Well, you take the floor. You go as long as you want.
First of all, about feeling nauseous. When I just started doing the meditations, when we were moving the energy, and you were saying moving the energy from the root to the heart, you're conscious that you're doing that. But when I was just starting consciously moving the energy with the breath work from the root into the upper centers, once you're moving through that area, the solar plexus, the third chakra related to the stomach, and then the throat, it does create very often for people, if you have blockages there of some sort, that's the old cellular reflex or cellular memory to keep that repressed because of how the body is used to function, how the energy is used to function or used to be functioning for many years. So as that's trying to move through these blocks, people get nauseous. That's a very common thing. So I can just don't get too concerned about that because it's going to stop. It's going to stop once the channel of your energy moving from the root into the higher centers. It's moving literally through your third energy center, the solar plexus. That's the stomach reflection. And if there is any stuff on the bottom of that energy center that has not yet been looked at, or there's emotional stuff that has not been fully released, that's hidden maybe already, still hidden there, it's going to generate the energetic blockage. It's going to make you nauseous. So that's why you're feeling nauseous. Then you get to the throat center. Sometimes people's necks would just lock up, or the throat will close and you're feeling like you just can't breathe and you're choking, just because the throat center needs some work as well. So your stuff, that part is very much happening. And then as far as what we I already forgot everything else, of course, what you said. So, but I think it's all just going to come together now. So
I do, and I feel very good about it. And somebody put up cellular to me, and I actually took a look at it 2 or 3 days ago. I just tapped in because I had this weird sensation. We have all these sensations, like the chills when you feel the soul family around you, or the tingling, like your arms asleep, that type of sensation with the needles. But I had one that was from the inside, and it was from head to toe. But mostly I could feel it or most intently in my fingers. And so I just tapped in and looked at it, and it was like the cells were like this blue. There was kind of a really pretty blue that I've seen many times, which to me was kind of like the canvas. And then there was a yellowish golden ring around the edge that was kind of throbbing and expanding. And in the middle was the pink feminine and the blue masculine, and they were just dancing and mingling and mixing, and then the gold would get bigger. But that was the metaphoric, that was the visual. What I was getting was what that person just said. It was a very cellular. It was from the cellular up, the atomic up. And so these things that I'm describing and other people have been describing, I think they're the on the surface physical symptoms of what we're going through.
Okay, so a couple of things. We're moving out of the experience of singularity and experience of separation, whether you like the separation of being in the male-female form, or identifying with one or the other, or experiencing yourself as one or the other, into the state of oneness. And I'm going to get back to that in a second. But you mentioned before that you're experiencing things that you have never experienced before to the same degree. And your third eye getting all red and stuff, that is an indication, well, it's kind of like a symptom or side effect of the third eye coming back on. Here I want to say that majority of people that come to me for work, they ask me the same question always. How do I activate my abilities? How do I activate I want to like activate all of my abilities right away. And I promise that if all abilities are activated right away, we will pretty much lose it right there, because every ability, every sensation, every physical, non-physical sensation, everything you hear, everything you smell, everything you see, everything you are familiar with as far as sensations gets amplified 25% at the beginning, then 50%, and then it's just the volume is on all of these experiences. And if you're not prepared, and if you didn't go through your 25% and 50% and then 100, then like more, it's super uncomfortable, I tell you. Even I've been playing with that for a long time now. So my activation started happening in that way through the nighttime meditation. But I've been doing the nighttime meditations for close to 6 years now. 2014 I started. And so around my birthday this year, I said, I'm just going to sleep. I'll just do my meditations in the day. It doesn't matter. And so I skipped about them until last week, actually. So I was just skipping the nighttime meditations because I figured, what else is there to do? I've done so many years of it. Now I can just do my daytime meditations. It seems to be giving me the same amount of access, the same amount of visual, the same intensity, everything, But one thing I forgot about was, so I did 3 of these this week. And yesterday so you wake up after that kind of meditation in the night. It was awesome. It was intense. You went places, you experienced things. By the time I finish with that, I can, like I always talk about this, that I can smell every leaf on every tree 10 miles around my house, whatever. So then yesterday I figured I need to get out of the house for a little bit. So I step outside and oh my God, the awareness of what's going on where everywhere was so intense that it was even too intense for myself. I went to eat at a restaurant, and when they brought me a glass of water, I just leaned forward towards the glass and I could smell whose hand was handling that glass before they brought it, before that other person brought it for me. So I had full awareness of, it seemed like I just like stuffed my nose right into the person in the kitchen who was handling the glasses. So I had the full download, the full visual of what that person looked like, and the smell and the glass. Wow. And I said, I gave it a glass and I said, I think that glass smells. And the waitress smelled it and she said, I can't smell it. And then the owner of the restaurant is a good buddy. And so she smells, she's like, I don't smell anything. So, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like having this additional awareness of stuff. And then everything they gave me, I literally felt like I needed to get up and leave because I had an extra awareness of everything that was done with that food, who touched it, where it's been, I could taste like every ingredient separately. It was like, oh, okay. So I haven't done my nighttime meditations in a couple of months. I forgot how amplified stuff is when the abilities are turned on. And then driving through, and then like literally you become aware. If you take every cell around you in the reality, you become aware of the consciousness of every cell that is hanging out invisibly around you. And then on top of that, of the realms and beings, like the deer was coming to cross the road. I stopped, the cars were behind me honking. I stopped because I saw the deer coming before it even emerged. I could, like, it's not the smell, I just sense it. As if I smelled the deer, but I actually sensed it. I was like, the deer is going to come. So I stopped and the deer came out on the road at that moment. The cars behind me had no idea why I just stopped suddenly out of nowhere, but I very clearly knew that the deer was coming. And then you become connected not only to every cell of your reality in this consciousness, in this density, but you also, in our physical experience, but also with all the realms. Yeah. You were mentioning that you're connecting to the elementals a lot, and to I don't know, I guess that's the fairy realm and the realms that are invisible now, but they are above animal kingdom in the on the level of consciousness, right? But they're still all around us. And so not only we experience the awareness of everything that's going on with every cell around you in the physical experience, but you also become aware of what's happening in the non-physical that's not visible, but you feel it. And that gives you a really strange sensation.
Well, and it's like you're talking about, so what you're talking about is it's, because like we could go to, a bottle of water, whatever the case is, and we could consciously connect, and we've been able to, and, it takes practice, whatever. And you can pull in information, or, somebody hands you a necklace, and you hold it and you can pull in, it was their mother's or whatever the case. But what you're describing, what I'm experiencing, what other people are talking about seems to be like what you were describing about your day, you weren't consciously intending to do that. You just have, what's happening is the higher sensitivities are coming into play. So smell has an intuitive aspect, sight has an intuitive aspect, where the telepathy is expanding, and truly, we've said this so many times over the years, the cliche, the veils are lifting, the veils are lifting, the veils are lifting.
Yeah.
But
what does that mean? That's what it means.
They're more like a thin membrane now.
Yeah.
Like you just pull it back, and then, but what I wanted to stress with what you were talking about, because it makes a lot of sense, it connects some dots, is it's not even, you don't even have to consciously intend it.
Yeah.
Like everything is amping up, and I agree with you. I think there's only so much we can take in.
Yeah.
It's gotten faster, but you still integrate. That's what the body sensations are. I mean, this has been happening to my third eye since 2014. Other things have been happening. The tones, or the way I purge, and noticing the metal leaving my body and different things. But it's coming in. I understand it because it's clearer. The higher sensitivities are being enhanced, I guess. And it's a natural phenomena. It's a natural part of the process. And your example of your day is a perfect example. So everybody get ready, buckle in.
That's right. And it's a natural state of being of a human being. So I channel that a lot. A lot of guides come in and say, pump the brakes. Don't ask for everything to come in right away. You're not ready to handle it. It's practice, it's training. If what I just described happens to a person who very much believes that they are just this physical body, and then they heard that, they're supposed to have some abilities, and that comes on that strongly, they're going to freak out. So it's practice. And good point there, that I was not intending to develop any of these of that level of awareness. It happens as a side effect. It happens as a side effect of, well, I live a pure lifestyle, purity and service. That's my lifestyle at this point. But I'm very conscious of what I eat. I do my daily energy maintenance. I do my meditative practice, and I was doing it during the day, and it was amazing, because when I just first learned that recent Dr. Dispenza's breath that I learned July, I think, where it literally gives you like what you call a soulgasm. I was like, yeah, I gotta do that. I want to do that in the middle of the night because I'm too sleepy, but I gotta do that when I wake up first thing in the morning, and experience all kinds of tripping out stuff, and open my heart so big, because about love, right? You experience the level of love for everything. And that's a known fact. I always feel love in the meditation, and I'm familiar with that, and I've been experiencing that for many years. But in this case, what started happening for me would be that I started experiencing that level of love for different aspects of my own, kind of what I do in the healing sessions. I give a heart healing process, starting from the moment of conception, through pregnancy, clearing all of the imprints on the child, clearing all the past timeline to get into the present, going through childhood and teen years and earlier years in life, and then to the present moment. So it started happening for me, myself, in my own meditations, that today, let's say I have a meditation that I'm experiencing myself as a 2-year-old, and the love is so incredible that it just explodes my heart, and I experience myself as that child, and then I just experience that incredible love of cradling that child as a grown-up, and then it went through to the present moment, And I noticed that my state of being, of my behavior changed, and my approach of reality changed. And so that healing work came in without intention also. And then the body, although, somewhere in there, I always have an intention that I need to continue doing my healing work, but now it just organically comes in and assists me. So the body and the mind, the consciousness is kind of on autopilot. You no longer need to get a healer. You no longer need to get anyone's assistance. Your system knows what it needs to address, what it needs to clear, so that you can elevate yourself into the next level. And so before that full-on awareness, it was yesterday. I came out of the house like, wow, wait a second, this volume is up. And it's fun, it's exciting. But for an unprepared person, that's not comfortable. So,
well, I mean, it sounds like what you were talking about with these people that are coming in to see you, who are 60, 70, and don't have a particular, they're coming in and they're telling you the same thing, which is, I'm not happy, basically. I've been serving everybody else, and we've all been there, the overgiving and all that. And you mentioned Dolores Cannon, and I'm fascinated too by the work that she put out, and fascinated too by a practitioner who has a consistent practice and is able to garner collective intel, real-time intel, kind of like these people coming in and they're all telling you the same thing. That to me is a really good sign. That's a good anecdote to share, because it kind of gives you an idea of what the field looks like, because the field is moving very rapidly. It's changing like a living and breathing mosaic. Now, in your case, are you getting information from your clients? Do you put them, or do they go into a hypnotic state, or is this through conversation? Like, are you getting, and how are you getting this information that's coming out from them?
That I want to talk about in a second. I want to finish what I was saying before.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying that that amplified level of awareness of everything that I experienced yesterday came after a few nights of meditation, and mornings and nights, whatever, alternating, where I experienced that healing process that was just naturally rolled out for myself. And not really the healing, was just cradling the inner child, cradling the teenager, cradling the earlier years, acceptance of everything. And so that went through my heart. I would come back from meditation in tears from just the overwhelmed heart, the heart that's overwhelmed of like embodying all these aspects too. And I had some challenging years and intense years in the past, but embodying and receptivity of all of that. And then I come out and I find out that my ability is amplified.
Yeah.
So that's a correlation for sure. For sure. I keep repeating that, and I can't repeat
No, I think that's a good point. I want to go back to that for a second. Just make it clearer for people that will watch us in the live and the replay. So you're a practitioner. You had a strong wake-up experience. You've had a strong journey. You moved to Sedona. I know your story. You've talked about it on this show, and I'm sure you've talked about it through your own platforms. So you are, and you're, like you said, you're in purity and in service, period. Boom,
at the moment. Yeah, last couple of years, sure.
But what I was getting at, so what you're telling us is that even though you have had this level of evolution on your journey, you still, for instance, in the last few days, spent time revisiting your inner child, your adolescent child, your teenage child, whatever, and holding them, having them, loving them, appreciating them in gratitude. And this, what you're saying that occurred, that you described to us earlier, as an example, is a direct result of this practice that you had for the previous few days, where you were still going
energy. What I did was I liberated energy that was still entangled into the space, emotional, energetic soul space that was still not fully integrated or not fully released with the past trauma or the past sadness or the memories came up during that process that I was like, oh my God, I haven't thought of that. And I thought I already looked at it a million times, but why am I looking at that again? But in this case, they came up and it took 3 minutes. I was just like, what is this? And then just like purged. I think I maybe screamed in that meditation or whatever, but it just like purged right out, and that's it. And then that peace and that love and that contentment, that quiet, that silence, that what Sandra Walter calls divine neutrality, an embodiment of that alignment of all aspects of you in complete unity, the internal unity of inner timelines and inner soul state and the state of consciousness. And as that I experienced that, I came out and I saw that my abilities were skyrocketing on that yesterday. So I haven't been out of the house today, so I don't know. But it's in direct correlation because that happened, that final moment, that happened actually yesterday morning. And then after that, I went out and I was like, whoa.
That's when you had the experience.
Yeah.
So it was like I noticed Friday. So Friday I had a morning show. And then I had a couple of cancellations. So I had an evening show and I had some time in between. So I was guided to get on and do one of my solo shows, but I didn't have the motivation. And I was like, what's going on? And I kept hearing, no, you got to do this. You got to do this. So I jumped on. Long story short, I looked down at the corner of the computer and it said 11/20/2020. 1/1/2.
Yeah.
You know what? And I thought, oh, wait a minute. So then tomorrow's 1/1/21/22, and the next day is 1/1/22/22. So I could see something was brewing, and of course this weekend proved that.
So yesterday was 1/1/22. Yeah, there we go.
So all three of them had a cluster of ones and twos.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine told me this about 3 years ago. She was pulling down the information. She said, from here forward, when you see a cluster of 1 1s and 2 2s, it's PowerPoints. And so I'm looking at 3 days straight, and I got, oh my God. So on every front, we had, of course, some strong sacred sexuality, vibrational stuff going on. We had the normal stuff. The shows were all, very diverse, very full of code. Then we had of course, the physical stuff I had going on. And then we had a moment, would have been Saturday night after we did that show at around midnight, some energy came in. And Morgan was like, I feel like I can feel something coming in. I'm starting to get waves of nausea. 60 seconds later, the electricity goes out. And it was just in our area. It was just our house, basically. So we had this experience. We walked outside and it was like, I said, I feel like the clock was going like, and then it stopped. And then it's going, so we're in the pause, right? And she said, like a time warp. And I'm like, yeah. But not only that, we felt I felt like we were standing, like we're the only people that were here. And we were standing in this, I guess, like a matrix or an overlay. But it was just a totally different perspective. It was like, yeah, well, maybe if you took a picture of the earth and you saw us standing on this street corner, we'd look really small. But by the same token, to me, it felt like we were really big, like much bigger than what we were playing in. I don't know. So there was just a lot of powerful energy, was my impression these last 3 days this week. And it sounds like, it culminated for you in the same way. But are you seeing a trend with the clients that you're working with? Are you seeing any type of graduated evolution with what's happening with them recently?
Okay. So you asked before if information comes in, and I see that information that comes in through these sessions, through each person kind of adds another piece of a puzzle, especially through the channeled messages. And by the way, you guys can listen to these. I put the ones that stand out the most, I put them into my Soul Stream Sessions series on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Isabella Greene. And you can listen to authentic, original, channeled messages that are coming in. And so underlying theme here has been return to oneness.
Mm-hmm.
Return to self, number one. Number two, return to oneness and understanding that we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
I yesterday firsthand experienced that, as I described, but that we're all interconnected as one mechanism, including the planet itself, including all the realms, including all of our cosmic aspects that are now being fully reintegrated and pulled into, reconnected with us. And that, like you said, the veil is thinning, but people are stepping into awareness of these things through the activations, through my work too, but through activations of the dormant DNA, through activations of, or releasing the baggage of emotional traumatic experiences that take on a lot of person's energy. It's like carrying a wall of bricks in your lower centers usually. I see a lot of people that are coming in whose throat chakra expression center are missing. Like half of it is gone. It's been plowed through by the system. And so they're coming in and we're pulling in the original energetics of the soul to restore that and mend the energy field. Of course, they can't get to their upper centers. The energy, if they move the energy through the root and up, even if they can get to the heart, they can't get to their vision and guidance, the upper centers, because everything is just lost through damaged throat center. So that's very important and very what I'm seeing a lot of. The message of the law of oneness. We need to remember that as an example, what I experienced yesterday, it's true for all of us. We are all connected all the time. And, when we say, oneness, people think that they need to throw their arms around the neighbor and
right. We're all going to be
sing kumbaya, but that's not true. Even if you never talk to your neighbor ever, you still interconnected with them through the fabric of the universe. And the fabric of the universe is interconnected with every cell and every thought form that's out there. And that's what we are made of. And so what we do with ourselves, how we operate, how we treat the land, how we treat animals and plants and beings and ourselves, all of that is of the uttermost importance at this time. Well, always has been, but right now they're saying we're almost out of time as far as to correct course on Earth. And so there's been a lot of suggestions to interact with the ones who remember. But I'm going to caution here, because not the elders that we know that have lost touch themselves. Because there are many groups of elders that got fixated on hatred and got pulled into the old paradigm, and they have lost the remembers the understanding of the law of oneness. It's almost, you need to go to the Amazonian tribes and sit with them to see how they are connected to
and I can see how how that can happen, where it becomes, we're all subject to the conditioning. Now maybe there's an exception, like with what you're talking about, but even like remember us doing a show with a couple of a father and son that are involved with the Uluru prophecy, which has to do with which is led by some Aboriginal elders. It's their vision, but if you listen to the words of what the message is, the magic box, all that. Well, I mean, if you take it too literal, it's too inclusive. And one thing about the oneness thing is it's everybody. Whether you like it or not, we're all one.
Too exclusive, meaning that it's just them.
I'm sorry. It's too exclusive. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's too exclusive because, in other words, if you take the word so literally, you know, and say more of a singular dimensionally, it cuts people out. It's and so other narratives, another example might be a narrative of like somebody says it's going to be this way and it has to be this way.
Yeah.
Like this is the only way it's going to happen, or this is the only way you can get there. And that's not a oneness. That's not a vibration made up of multiple frequencies that displays oneness to me. But yeah, you know what you're describing too. I mean, this has been very recent too. Like in the same thing that you're talking about is the same thing Morgan and I have been talking about. What she's been pulling down, what we've been experiencing, what I've been experiencing on the show. There is to me, I've said it this weekend, it's like a wave. There's like this wave happening. And I want to point to probably about a week ago. Like this has been going on, we know that, but like about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, something started to really I look at the Soulology stuff because that's what I do. And I keep my eye on things both in the field and also in the literal world. And I noticed there was like a tripling. Like everything was times 3, you know, viewers, minutes viewed, subscribe, everything just went like tripled. And so I look at that as being an indicator and not the literal part of it. So, and to me, it's like the beginning. It's like when you run a long distance race and they shoot the gun off at the last lap and then everybody starts running as fast as they can. You know, to me, that's what I feel like. And so I don't, people are saying, man, 2021 is going to be, I'm like, hey, you know what? We still got 30, 40 days in 2020. And if it's based on the way it went in the rest of the year, it's going to be bigger than it was the day before, bigger than it was the week before, and so on. So who knows how it's going to go.
Since the end of October, stuff just kicked into high gear. And you asked me earlier that what I foresee. I don't really go into foreseeing stuff because we're very much creators and we're constantly shifting timelines too. So if I'm in meditation and come back, I might be on a different timeline. So I don't usually predict things coming. But what I see is people coming into their state, what is called the state of embodiment, but actually becoming more organic. People becoming more organic in who we naturally are. The ones who have abilities, the ones who have intuitive guidance, the ones who have, is that a printer?
Where?
Like it sounds like there's a printer there. So the ones who have.
No. What do you keep hearing?
I keep hearing the printer. What are you printing?
I'm not printing anything.
I love the guitar behind you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So I was saying that what I see is definitely the wave of awakening is just washing like a tsunami at this point. We reached the elders that have not ever been able or thought about this because humanity, I recently channeled that humanity has been conditioned into amnesia even more than when we're born on Earth for about 150 years. So that's an artificial system that is installed on this planet to maintain humans small and undeveloped, and so that we are not able to get out of the rat race and get out of the reincarnation cycle and all of that. But so more and more people, even the elders, are waking up and asking, something's not right here.
No.
Something is really gonna change, and and doesn't matter how much time I have on this planet, I need to change my life because this is not the life that I wanted. That's an awakening. That's the first thing, like they're realizing that, whoa, you know, this was not supposed to be this way. There's something wrong with this system. There's something wrong with what's happening here. And as they start, and let's say they have a session with me, chances are they maybe get 25% of what I'm saying, you know, but it's recorded, and then they keep listening to it. And then they come back to me a year or two later saying, oh my God, I finally got it. And so they also receive the energetic infusion and the DNA upgrades through interaction with me. And so we are going through levels of population, the levels of population awakening that have not even had a chance a few years ago or before this year. But discomfort is so strong that they are coming into that state of being. And I'm seeing people who were, let's say, suicidal for entire life. Yeah. I worked recently with the one who, she was suicidal since day one until we had one session, and then her reality rock and rolled, and everything she knew was lost. And then she came in for the second session, and she kicked into her abilities and into her purpose. And she's saying, oh my God, this is the first time that I'm actually excited to be on earth, because I finally am able to be myself. So return to self. And that major tweaking of the state of being of the people who have been dormant this whole time. Yeah. And now they are awakening. And the ones who awaken, like this woman, she went from below zero into high gear, high performance in the mission space, where she's channeling activation codes without even knowing what she's doing, putting that on paper. And that's in 6 months. Wow. And that's during the quarantine. Another one, and that's the younger generation. Another one I just worked with, who over the last 6 months completely, also after the first session, completely redirected her entire life. And she started channeling the how to work with earth, how to work with soil, how to she came up with a program of how to do sustainable farming. And she's already working with farm, and she was doing, like, I don't know, web design or something before that. So
we're moving from the Me Too movement to the I Choose Me movement.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. That's like, I like what you said about that. Like that's like that's the awakening, like what these 16, 17-year-olds came in and told you. So,
and the ones that I worked with already, and I have an incredible case that's coming in. His wife first came because, well, she just wanted some assistance. She didn't like her life. But as we started working with her, her higher self came in and said, you have no idea about your husband who is now in mid-70s. Your husband was the Syrian starseed who channeled the first inventions of electricity in ancient Egypt, and these paintings on the wall, that was what your husband was working on. And she freaked out. She told the husband reached out to me. It was like, I want to know more about this. And then he says, I'm not surprised, because I've been staring at these paintings like my entire life. I don't know why it gives me that feeling. Well, we got to figure it all out, and he's an inventor now too. And he said that he's had a dry spell for a while. Regardless of his age, he's still very incredibly intelligent and incredibly connected in that space. And so I think that he's going to get kicked into gear to invent something, or to bring forth something that is of the present day. Wow. Because it's like people are getting reactivated into performance that has to do with creation of new systems on this planet. I literally just channeled this week the higher self. One of the higher selves said, we're creating the seedlings. Oh, it said failed right there as soon as I mentioned the new systems on Earth. It said that we are now getting kicked into gear to download the information, to place the seedlings of the structure that generations to come would be grateful for, because the human beings are coming out of the coma of 150 years of conditioning that kept us under, like, as a slave race. And the ones who have these potentials to put the foundation for the new systems for this planet, they're just getting reactivated like that and remembering and waking up saying, wait a minute, this is not the life I wanted. I can do something else. And then the information starts coming through. So that's what I've been seeing. This is very, very exciting. And
that is exciting. I wonder what it's going to look like in 30 days. There's no telling.
I'm feeling the 12-12 very strongly.
Yeah.
The solstice, yes, for sure. But the 12-12 feels like, I don't know, there's something, we literally now just rolling with that energy, with unfoldment of stuff for the 12-12 gateway. That's going to be very powerful. This is what I feel too.
Right on. And so I'd like to talk longer, but I have another show in 20 minutes.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to ask you though. So do you ever channel like publicly, or do you only do it in private sessions?
I've been wondering that myself, because the thing is that I only channel through individual work. I'm not a channeler, you know. So when I do a session and I connect with that stream of the soul, and we call in the aspects, the non-terrestrial aspects, and I'm intimately connected with that already, then it's a no-brainer. It's just so easy.
I just wondered,
they speak, and so I'm able to bring forth until intelligence from different dimensions and different races and different beings that come in. And by the way, one more quick thing. You said about the blue and the pink and the male and the female. Recently, I channeled the higher essence of a woman, of a client who had two of the higher selves simultaneously as a Pleiadian collective, and they came in as two, but there was the same soul. And it was he was more of the blue energy field. She had more of the pink energy field. I haven't seen that before, but the integration that in between space was what really was speaking.
They were one and the same.
They were in the oneness, or in full integration of the aspects. So that centerpiece, the Vesica Pisces, the middle, that has masculine and feminine present equally, that was the one that was speaking.
That's interesting, because 2 nights ago we had a triad forum, and it was her and I, obviously, and then the third point was one soul, basically, of her and I, and so it was shown that is the golden child energy. So that was interesting. And then we did have a monad experience one time. It was 12 in that monad, and the highest monad we've seen. There was some of 24 and I think 36, 24. But anyway, and we basically spoke with one of the 12 in that monad that told us, I am the both of you in one body, you know. So there's something to that. I don't know. This is getting real interesting. The reason I asked you about when I say channeling, I just mean, like, I know you connect. Everyone's got different words for it, but I think maybe it'd be interesting, or just consider it if you'd ever like to come on and connect on the show and just see where it goes. And you know,
I'll be out of body, like,
let me know. Don't worry, believe me, I've done all kinds of stuff on it. But how do people get in touch with you? What's your website?
IsabellaGreene.com, Greene. I have that's my website. Everything is there. And also, if you are interested to listen to the actual original channeled messages that I'm talking about, there's so much information that comes through, such wonderful guidance. And the ones that stand out the most, that I feel are most appropriate now, I put them online into that soul stream sessions episodes that I have 65 of those already on my channel. So that's on my YouTube
is that on
channel.
on YouTube?
On YouTube channel.
What's the name? What's the name of your YouTube?
Same Isabella Greene. Isabella Greene.
And is Greene
YouTube, yeah.
On YouTube. Well, let's touch.
I want to mention something quickly. You were talking about oneness and unity within two physical forms. You're experiencing that within two physical forms. I'm experiencing that within one physical form. As a part of my integration process was also to integrate the masculine and the feminine, which were equally present within me always. And they were kind of like the two opposed aspects within, or not opposed, but they were kind of like each had the mind of their own. But that's the bringing together, like defragmenting and bringing together into unity the internal structure as well. As I'm fully aware that I think I did that work as well.
Absolutely. And I told you when I saw you in Sedona, we had gotten some information about what was going to happen there, and it did happen, and it was all the same thing.
Yep.
And then, like you said, it kind of kicked up after October started, and so I had a period. Just as an example, I had a period 7 days I spent alone, and in that 7 days, my feminine, which had been present but came in fully, right? For 2 days, came in for 2 days, and we just so it's all replicated, but certainly, the inside, the individual is the center point of the universe, and that's where this is happening. I love what you said about the Vesica Pisces area, because that is like the womb. That's like the holy womb. That's where it all starts.
So with you and Morgan, there are 4 of you. If she has her divine masculine integrated, you have your divine feminine integrated, and then you're in 2 vessels at the same time. So you can say that kind of the interaction is between the 4 of you in full integration, and that what you call the golden child, or that middle space, which is called the Vesica Pisces, and that's the ideal balanced connection.
What we were seeing too, and this being, I guess, a metaphoric explanation of what we're bringing to the table, all of us, like through our incarnations here, what is being added to the universe. We know we came in with the Akashic, then we have this experience of the incarnations. You combine that with what we came in with, and now we have a higher truth, a higher love, a higher expanded experience. But that was that in these triads, they're multi-dimensional. They're not 3D. There's like it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like it's like multiplicity.
Yeah.
And so there's something to that. I don't know. I think we've done a great job, all of us, and I think we're in for a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what's going on post solstice. So maybe we should hang out together right after the solstice, first part of the year, and see what you experience, and see what I experience, and see what everybody else has been experiencing.
Would love to do that, Todd. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
It is. I love you. I appreciate
you.
Thank you for your service.
Take care.